Hello, it's Joe Glines, and in this video I'm going to show you the macro I created, which randomly breaks up my data file into different groups, saving them as text files because often I have a file that I need to split randomly into equal groups, and I just want to randomize it and break them out into like a text file. And this macro I have here takes care of this. This just empties the screen, but everything between here and here is my macro. And what I've put is a few parameters so I can say what this is actually the path. You know what, let me add extra space there. This is the path to the export directory where they're going to be saved. The stem, so this is what the beginning part of the file name I want to create. So in my case, I'm just calling it rand for random, and then an underscore, and then it'll put in the number of whatever file it was in, happened to fall into. And then how many groups do I want to create? In this case, 2. This one down here, you can see I said 4. And then if I want to keep the variables that I've created that drop them into the groups, this for me is just more when I'm actually developing it and testing it and making sure they fell into the groups that I wanted, that was random and whatnot. Normally I would drop them because I don't want to keep them in my data set, but it just gives me a nice easy way to say yes or no here instead of having to go play with the data over and over. And this is why I love macros, is because once I've defined it and I keep it and I save it somewhere, all I need is this, and I can just play with this. I just redefine my macro, play with this every time, and it's a breeze. Quickly I'll walk through here. So I create the different parameters. So this is where I'm just creating them for the macro. So there's my groups, drop vars. At first it's going to go through and drop this temp variable just in case it exists, because I found if I have run this before and it existed, it will not overwrite it, and this will cause an error if it's not there, but I don't really care. And then I created a random variable with a uniform distribution, and then I use the rank variables command and sort them into however many groups we want. And then just because it's easy, now if you have bigger data sets, you might want to comment this out just because it shows you the frequency of how they got distributed to make sure you feel that an even number fell in there. It's unneeded, it's just a nice safety precaution to be able to see it quickly. And then it just goes through a loop. After it's done that, it assigns the groups, then it's going to do a loop to break them into different data files, different text files. So this is where the text extension comes in. I'm doing the save translate with the path, the stem, right? So this is the path to the folder where it's going to export it, the stem, the name that we had put in down below here, this rand underscore, and then it puts in the count. That's the number of the loop that it's in when it's going through the loop. So in this case, there'd only be 2. So the first time through would be 1, the second time through would be 2, and then it appends the .txt. And in here, I tell it, because I don't want these other variables, so I keep all the variables in my data file here. I just have the one, but I could easily have dozens, hundreds, whatnot. Come on. And I don't really want to keep them in my exported data set. Normally, so I work in email marketing, and what I really want is like their email address, unique identifier, maybe a couple of things, but generally speaking, I just want it clean because I need to upload it and send it out of my list. And this, for my examples, I don't need them. So I drop them here, and then this is my little if statement that if I don't want to keep the new variables, if this is a y, then it'll let's see, I forget, drop new vars. Yeah, so if it is a y, it's going to drop them. If it's anything other than a y, then it won't drop them. So I've already defined it, but I'm going to show you. This is this will empty my output, and then we're going to redefine it just to make sure, right? So now it's actually run. Where'd we go? Okay. Oh, and you know what? Let me show you one more thing. Oh, and look, I actually do have. Oh, and good. That's where my videos are being recorded. Anyway, okay. So when I come back in here, and again, I told it this is the path to where I want to export it. Which, let me see if I can get this up here and still see it. So as you can see, this is the C temp folder, and there's nothing else in here right now. That's where this is going to be exported. And then I'm just telling it the parameters to be start everything with rand underscore, create 2 groups. Oh, and in my data file, I think I have 2,500 almost. Yeah, 2,500 member IDs. It doesn't really matter what this is. It's a unique identifier, and that's how I'm going to group them. And so it's going to look at that and basically say, okay, so let's see, I had 2481. Let me grab that, put it here so we can remember that number. Now when I run this, because I'm going to say drop new you know what, let me change this to a no, so we don't drop them. And I'm going to run it, and I'm going to create two groups. Alright, so I run it. Now it just said, okay, here's group 1 with 1240. This is from that frequency command. And the second group at 1241, because we can't divide somebody out. Here it created my two text files. If we open it up, other screen, let me bring it over. You'll see it kept the header, which I do, maybe I should put a parameter there whether I should keep the header or not, because a lot of times I don't actually want to keep the header. Anyway, so it randomly put them in this one, and then there's the other group, right? And you can tell just by the file size, they're probably, almost exactly the same. Apparently, the second one has one more case. But let's say, and let me just delete these. Let's say I wanted 4, right? So now it just does the math and divides them out now. So for some reason, because it's a random grouping, group 3 had the extra one that wouldn't fit in there. But now they're all divided into there and back under here. Now I have 4 files, right? All text files, all similar formats, which is also great because I need to have exactly the same formats when I upload them for the script that I use. Also, so let's see. So this is the other thing. I use hot strings, right? So once I've defined my macro, which I always define them in the very beginning when I load SPSS, so I never have to worry about it. I can type a couple letters. It comes up with the parameters, and let's say I wanted 20, and let's say I don't want to keep these in my data set. You know what? Let me point that out real quickly here. Oh, that second one was a Y. Sorry. Let's go back and do this one real quick, just so I can show you. So this is the random number that was generated, right? Not that I would ever think that would be broken, but this is the temp group it was created that they were classified into. In case you wanted to look at it, and for some reason wanted to make sure if you had other variables you wanted to include in there, you can make sure that things are what group they were in and keep it in this file. And if you want, save this file. Of course, I never want that, but anyway. And let's go back here and do the one that I was actually, the reason why I wrote this in the first place is because I wanted to have, let's see, about 20. I wanted to have about 100, so that's not quite enough. So I need 25. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. So 25 groups gives me, I guess I could have done some really simple math and said there's 2481. So yeah, I need 25 groups. But now I have over here, I have my 25 data files, all randomly split out into text files. And it's a breeze, right? I mean, now I can go forward and use these in my different test lists, and I've randomly grouped them, and it was very, very easy. Oh, you know what? Let me show you one other thing. Let me get rid of all of these guys. So I illustrated. I'm not going to change the path because that's pretty obvious. But let's say that I didn't want that to be the stem, so I want to say my grouper. And let's change it to 5, just because we don't need all those files. So again, it's 5 groups here, over here, and now see how this has 5 grouper and then the number. That just makes it flexible. So in case you do want to have, I could have not had that as a parameter, but to me it's nice to be able to, if I wanted the name of the project or something, right, I can put it in here. I probably should have had an underscore ending in the underscore, so now it's going to create different ones because I didn't get rid of the first ones also, but you can see them here. And that's it. Thanks.